So Tesla just announced a 3-for-1 stock split. And in this video, I'm going to tell you everything you need to know about the stock split. This includes my personal opinion, what I think about it, and as well as predicting how Q2 will shape up. We're going to look at it in a detailed way, month by month, how many cars they produce in each individual factory. And based on those numbers, we're going to see what the stock price could be in Q2, Q3, Q4, and end year. So let's go ahead, let's dive into the video. All I ask in return is a like and subscribe if you haven't already. Let's go, man. So first off, Tesla announced a 3-for-1 stock split finally. Now, does that mean you should go buy Tesla stock? No, a stock split doesn't really mean anything other than the stock price is gonna get easier to buy, not cheaper. The market cap is still the same. Although it's a very good bullish sign for the long term, in the short term, it doesn't really mean anything. A good example of this is Google and Amazon. They both announced a 20-for-1 stock split, which is absolutely, it's massive. But they announced this about 2 to 3 months ago, and look at the stock right now, absolutely hammered. So much for a stock split hype, right? Okay, hold on, man. Google and Amazon, okay, fine, but Tesla, man. Tesla is a different category, it's a different beast, is what I bet you guys are thinking right now or saying. Well, if we look at the chart, in the previous stock split, they did have a short benefit, but then came back to reality after the split. But, strong but here, this was back in 2020 in the third quarter, where there was no interest rate hikes. In fact, it was going back down, 0%, no inflation, no war, no supply chain issues unlike now. It was a much different environment back then to what it is now. So just because it happened before, it doesn't mean it's gonna happen again, especially in this market environment. No way. Now, when will this 3-for-1 stock split be exercised? The shareholder vote is happening in August and when it gets passed, not if, when. Obviously, they're not gonna reject this 3-for-1 split. They're gonna go ahead and approve it with high numbers. But as soon as it gets approved, most likely it'll be exercised later that month, just like in 2020. If not, latest September or October. But most likely end of August, just like what happened in 2020. And if, this is a big if the macro environment is still a mess and inflation is still high and it's not slowing down, most likely we will not see that stock split hype with Tesla. But let's see what happens. Now, there were rumors for a 20-for-1 stock split, and although that sounds nice, it really wouldn't have been the best move. If they really did a 20-for-1 stock split, we would have to wait for another decade or so for another stock split to happen, and sheesh, that's not exciting, man. I personally believe a 3-for-1 stock split is perfect and extremely bullish because more freaking stock splits are coming sooner than later. You could say every 2 to 3 years, and that's freaking fantastic and healthy. So if you're a shareholder or going all in into Tesla like I am, what does this mean for us? Well, it means absolutely nothing other than we will have triple the amount of shares that we have now. And if you guys are looking forward to invest into Tesla stock, well, after this split, it's gonna get a whole lot easier. So that's a stock split. Got it out of the way. Let's go on to more exciting things and let's talk about and predict Tesla's Q2, mainly Q2, but Q3 and Q4's production rate. Not delivery, production, but they're almost at the same level. Demand is so high right now that anything they produce sells, so it's the same thing. So I made this little chart here, very simple, straight to the point. Got a gigafactory here, daily production, the month of Q2, total of Q2, and then total of Q3, Q4, because we can just go ahead and predict that afterwards because we don't believe there are going to be any more shutdowns in Shanghai. Let's hope, even though there's some news coming out of it now. Anywho, let's keep things optimistic. So let's get the daily production out the way first. So Shanghai, they have a full capacity. If they go balls deep, they can do 2,600 new vehicles daily, which is absolutely crazy. Fremont on the daily, they can produce about 1,221 vehicles. In Berlin at the moment, they're producing around 150 to 200 vehicles. Shout out to K-Rev or Kai-Rev. Sorry if I botched that name, man, but thank you for sending me those links. It came very clutch. So shout out to you, my man. But I put it as 200 as daily production for Berlin because in June, they're ramping it up big time. In Texas as well, it's really hard to get numbers out of Texas because there's no reports coming out of it. It's just people going with their drones and just guessing what it is. That's what's happening right now. And shout out to K-Rev again, man, or Kai-Rev. Sorry for butchering your name, man. Thanks for all these links. They helped out big time. Shout out to you again, my man. But I put here as 50 daily production is what we can guess and predict at the moment. All right, so let's go ahead and find out what every single month, each factory is going to produce. For Shanghai, we can see in April, they produced about 10,757 vehicles. Now, why is it extremely low? Because, well, Shanghai was shut down for about 22 days. Completely shut down because of COVID, not because there was no business or demand. There was COVID there, the whole city had to shut down, not just Tesla. And this accumulated to over 57,000 vehicle loss, which is absolutely crazy, which almost 50,000 of it was supposed to be made in April. And when they did open up on April 19th, all the way from April 19th to 31st of May, they only had half production. Actually, less than half of production. So that only gave them 11 days in April to produce, but yet they produced over 1,000 a day, which gave it 10,757 vehicles. Not bad. And in May, as we got the reports recently, it was about 33,544, which is absolutely amazing. Working half production and still pumping out over 33,000 vehicles. Sheesh! That's pretty darn amazing. From June, however, Shanghai is fully open, and Tesla has all means necessary and the mindset to go balls deep, full throttle in maximizing capacity in the Shanghai factory. Now, if you do the math, 2,600 times 30 days is about 78,000 vehicles. I don't think in June they can do that. So instead, I gave it a 70,000 vehicles for June, which is absolutely crazy. I think they did that in February or January. They did it in one of those months. And I could see it happening in June. So that's Shanghai for the 3 months. Fairmount. If they are producing about 1,221 vehicles a day in April, if you do that every single day, that'll give you 36,630 vehicles. In May, they did go over capacity about 10 to 20% because they're trying to make up for the Shanghai closure. Obviously, Fremont doesn't have the capacity of what Shanghai does, but yet again, they're still trying. So instead of taking full 20%, I put it at 15% at 42,124. That would bring the daily production up from 1,221 to 1,404. Not bad. But in June, however, I believe that since Shanghai is open and going balls deep and full throttle, Fremont should go back to normal capacity if I'm trying to keep things conservative. And that would take us back to 36,630. Berlin Forever is also a little bit tricky because they don't also give a report on how many vehicles they produced on a monthly basis. So we do have to go on a little guessing game too based on the articles that we have here. In Berlin, the first delivery happened in March, so we know that they are producing. And although right now they're producing around 150 to 200 vehicles a day, in April, it's safe to say that they were producing about 100 a day, which would give it 3,000 vehicles produced. In May, they did say they are trying to ramp up from 350 a week to 1,000. And pressure from Shanghai, I think they did go over capacity here as well, so I gave it a better and more optimistic outlook for May, giving it 4,500 vehicles produced. And in June, giving it the full 200 daily production at 6,000. Texas is a lot more interesting and a lot harder to get any information out of it. Right now, we're just relying on drones going over the factory. That's the only thing we're relying on. But in April, based on all the articles and news, there was nothing produced nor delivered. Maybe there was production, but no delivery, but yet we still don't have those numbers. In May, 1,000 vehicles produced, about 30 vehicles a day, give or take. And in June, which is this month, 50 a day would get 1,500 vehicles. And the total Q2, if you guys are ready for this, it's kind of disappointing numbers because it was a tough Q2. Q2 production, not just deliveries, just only production, was 245,685. Now, based on this, it may be less or it may be more. Nobody knows. We're just predicting, see what's going to happen. But 245, almost 246,000. I was hoping they wouldn't go below 250,000. But Q2 was pretty darn bad. I mean, if you guys see here, 57,000 vehicles lost. And these 43 days of half production could have been 111,800 vehicles. If you add these numbers together, Q2 potentially could have been 373,000 vehicles produced. Now, obviously, this is at like max capacity. I wouldn't expect this number to happen. Maybe 340, 350 I was expecting. But still, that's the potential that could have been in Q2. Instead, it's around 246,000. But nonetheless, Q2 alone was half of 2022. So that's still impressive. And let's go ahead and find out what Q3 and Q4 may be, because we know it's gonna be monstrous. Q3, Q4 is gonna be absolutely monstrous. For Q3 and Q4 for Shanghai, 2,600 production daily for 90 days straight, balls deep. I'm predicting there's not gonna be any speed bumps, no shutdowns, no lockdowns. And so they will produce 234,000 vehicles each quarter for both quarters. I mean, that's just crazy. Although they are expanding Shanghai, but this will come to effect in the next year or so. Same thing with Fremont, 1,221 production daily for 90 days. For both, we get almost 110,000 vehicles produced. Now, obviously, this is gonna be a lot more, but I'm just going based off capacity and trying to keep things conservative. For Berlin, however, it gets a bit more juicy. As the quarters and months go on, Berlin and Texas, both of them, are gonna get a lot more intense. Berlin at the moment has the capacity to do 500,000 vehicles yearly. Just that factory alone. So what I see happening sometime in Q3 is that Berlin can potentially produce 350 vehicles a day, which in Q3 at that rate would give us a total of 31,500 vehicles produced. And in Q4, this will dramatically increase in production, and I'm suspecting almost 500 or 550 vehicles produced daily, and that would give us about 48, maybe 50, but 48,000 vehicles produced total in Q4 alone. Now just remember, this is doing in one quarter. Berlin has the capacity to do 10x this in a year, of course. Now Texas is a whole different beast. They could do 1.5 million vehicles alone. Just Texas alone. That's absolutely crazy. So I suspect that sometime in Q4, they will increase their production, daily production, to 400 vehicles a day, close to 400. And this will give us a total production in Q3 of 35,000. In Q4, however, I have big hope and big optimism that Texas will become a monster in Q4. It's gonna produce crazy, almost 600 vehicles a day, 666 vehicles a day to be exact, which would give us a total production vehicle of 60,000. Total for Q3, it's about 410,390. Total for Q4 is 451,890. Put that into the 2020 chart, we get about over 1.4 million production. Now, usually deliveries are slightly more than production, but we just have to wait and see. By the way, guys, comment down below if you guys agree with these production numbers. Curious to know what you guys think. So now that we got the numbers, let's go ahead and put it into the chart and let's see what the stock price potentially could be. If you guys been following me for some time, you guys already are extremely familiar with this chart. I'm not gonna go over it because I go over 100 times. You guys can watch my other Tesla videos, recommendedly this one. But anywho, let's quickly put the numbers in and let's see what the stock price could be. So right now in Q1, the PE is around 86. In Q2, about 246,000 vehicles delivered. Although it's produced, delivery is slightly more than production, but we're just gonna go with the numbers that we have. I'm gonna give it a PE of 70. Now, most likely the price right now has already been priced in how bad Q2 is, but I think more of the FUD will increase after this. Things like,
oh my god, look, Tesla's gonna go bankrupt. They didn't have enough sales. They didn't make enough deliveries. They're gonna go bankrupt. They're no longer the king of EVs.
Come on, man. Let's get real. So I think the FUD will grow, and I think a PE of 70 could be more realistic. I'm gonna get a stock price of $636 per share. Sheesh. That's crazy, but it's a fantastic buying opportunity, man. I'm telling you. It's a fantastic buying opportunity. Worst case scenario, the PE can go lower because of the market environment. Maybe we have to bring interest rates even higher. Most likely, we will go into a recession, so more negative downside is to come. So a PE of 60 will give the stock price of $545 per share. That's freaking crazy, but also a fantastic opportunity. I mean, that's just $545, man. I mean, I'm going all into Tesla already, man, but if I see this number, man, I'm afraid, I think I have to sell this desk. I may have to sell this Bitcoin coin, this fake Bitcoin coin, to buy some more Tesla shares, man. I mean, that's just crazy. So in other words, man, if you guys are looking to buy Tesla stock, there's no rush. There's time from now to literally end of Q2 to buy it. But I don't know, 60 PE is a bit too low. I think on the average, we can see 636, maximum in the high 600s. Now, there is one catalyst at the end of Q2, and that's the shareholder vote for stock split. I mean, again, it's gonna get approved. But let's put it at 70 as the average of 636, which is amazing. It's a freaking fantastic deal. Then we got Q3. Q3 is gonna be a monstrous 410 deliveries record. Absolutely crazy. I'm gonna give it a PE of 80 because at this point, the factories are open, they're going full capacity. At this time in Q3, end of Q3 at least, inflation should have slowed down. The war in Ukraine should cool off a bit, and there should be more certainty and stability at that time. We hope, at least. Although hope is not a strategy, but anywho, we're trying to be optimistic. 80 PE would give us a stock price of $934 per share, and a 3-for-1 stock split would give us a stock price of $311. In my personal opinion, I think 80 is the lowest in Q3 because, again, with the points I just mentioned, war ending or slowing down at least, oil price coming back down to regular levels, inflation is drastically calmed down, certainty and stability are in the market, and the announcement of Cybertruck being built, as well as new gigafactories. I think that's when it will come. So I think if that happens, maybe a PE of 90 could also be a realistic, giving us a stock price of $10.51 and post split of 3-for-1 for $3.50. But keeping it at a PE of 80, $934, I think that makes more sense. And last but not least, the year end or Q4, 452,000 vehicles delivered. I'm also going to give this a PE of 80, which I think is the lowest it's going to be. Some of you guys are saying 100, but let's see what 80 looks like. 80 would give us $1,155 per share and a post split of $385 per share. Now, some of you guys are saying 100 PE. I highly doubt that. Let's see anyways. 1444. That's crazy. I personally don't think, unless the macro environment has drastically improved. At this given time, it's hard to even predict when this situation will be better. So I'm going to give it a conservative and a more realistic, really, PE of 80. Which is 1155. So realistic price ranges for end year would be around 1155 at the low end, and at the high end 1444. So the moral of this chart, we can see Q2 is going to get crushed. It's going to be nasty. It's going to be pretty darn bad, especially with more interest rates hike going. Right now I'm filming this on a Monday and the whole market's tanking. I think stock price of Tesla hit 650 today, which is absolutely nuts. And yes, I did buy. I did buy. I can't miss those opportunities. But anywho, guys, you have a lot of time to accumulate money or cash to buy as many shares as you want. There's really no rush to it. We have literally till July or August to buy at low levels. So you have time. Don't panic. Don't rush. Opportunity is here to stay for some time, but only limited. So do what you like with this information. This is all a prediction, not facts. All speculating, but intelligently. So yes, guys, we have a 3-for-1 stock split coming and a terrible Q2. Brace yourselves. However, guys, if you're holding for the long term, 5, 10, 15 years, I mean, Tesla's gonna do fantastic, man. I mean, you'll look back at these price levels and really ask yourself, was Tesla actually in the $650 range? Like, bro, what? How is that even possible? It's a long-term play, guys. There's no short-term games. Those days are gone. 2020 environment, 2021 environment is gone. No more free money for now, at least, until the next big pandemic or the next something happens or a terrible recession happens or something, which, by the way, a recession is coming. So we'll see what happens then. But it's necessary to have a recession. In my personal opinion, in my humble opinion, Tesla is going to thrive during this recession, especially when oil is up like this. A lot of my friends that own a Tesla, they have zero complaints. Zero. While some are paying about $600 to $800 a month just on gas, they're only paying $30 a month for the electricity to go places here and there. So it's a big difference. And obviously many more things that they benefit more than ICE vehicles, but we're not gonna get to that video right now. That's just for like a whole different video, and like videos long enough. Anyways, guys, if you guys enjoyed this video, don't forget to smash that like button and check out this Tesla retirement video. How many shares do you need today? And honestly, it's the best freaking time to buy shares right now. So I recommend you guys watch this video and get a good idea what could happen in the next 8 years. So check it out, how to retire on Tesla, how many shares you need. Don't forget to subscribe, guys, and I shall see you guys in the next video. See ya.